Dr. Stevens and all of the folks who have been working hard to make this happen. I think that, you know, when we come together collectively, we bring about transformation. And I think that we have to understand that transformation only happens when we do something. So that this is about doing something. The things that we do in the Africana Institute are about bringing about change, bringing about consciousness. So we raise the consciousness, but also the work. Du Bois used to talk about praxis. You gotta be a scholar, but then you gotta put your scholarship to something. So what is it that you're putting your scholarship to? Whether you are an undergrad, or you're a graduate student, or you're a professional in the field where you are, we have to do something to bring about change. It doesn't happen because we wish it to happen. So we're pushing the envelope to make that happen, and one of the things that we are doing also is that next week is the start of the Hip Hop Education Week. This is the second annual. The next week is the pre-week, actually. There's a bunch of events going on next week. We have some flyers here for you. And then the following week is Hip Hop Education Week. And that in of itself is another event that talks about how do we bring about transformation. How do we transform our thinking so that we can tap into where young folks are with the hip-hop culture and thinking about the things that they think about, but transform that in such a way that now we can bring these issues like the ones here today up to that. You know, we've done lots of different things. We also had worked for a while on education for liberation. We had meetings over at Rutgers and other places. And so that there's lots of things that we've done in our various organizations, various capacities. But if nothing else is true, Kwame Ture said this. He said that you can do nothing without organization. He said if you put Martin Luther King Jr. or Abraham Lincoln out in the middle, in the Middle Valley Forge by himself, he would have been lynched. If you put Martin Luther King Jr. at Washington, D.C. all by himself, he would have been lynched. So therefore it takes people who have ideas and thousands of people who surround themselves with similar ideas who are willing to do things and make sacrifices. Derek Bell tells us that we have to be courageous, we have to take risks, we have to think about the things we want to do, we have to have humility, and then when we put all those things together, we have something called integrity in what we do, and that's how we transform the reality of what we do. So I encourage you to think about all those things and figure out how we're going to come together collective to think about what it means to be progressive. Right? You have to define for yourself even the idea of what progressive is. When you define for yourself what progressive is, figure out how you fit in. You know, there's not one door that we have to open, there's lots of doors. We need people in the educational, the business realm, all these different spaces that we have to figure out how we're going to do this, and so that's what it takes to bring about the transformation. Not just one idea, but a collection of ideas working together to bring about a progressive movement for something different. If you keep doing, there's the old saying that if you keep doing the same thing that you've done, if you keep running into the same wall, that you're not going to bring about any transformation. What you end up with is psychosis, right? You end up with a bloody forehead, because the wall's not going to move. You got to tear the wall down. You got to dig underneath the wall. You got to climb over the wall. You got to go around the wall. Whatever it is that you're going to do to bring about change, those are the things that you have to do. Not just running into the wall. If you found it hurt you the first time, it's going to hurt the second time. Come up with something new, a new strategy, a new approach to bring about the change that's going to get you where you need to. And then the other piece is that we all know that we know certain things, but that the more we know, the less we know. So we have to continue to push to know more. And that the information we have is only useful when we give it to somebody else. Information is not what we need knowledge. Knowledge only comes into possession when you take that information that you have, that book that's sitting up on the shelf, and take that information and you give it to somebody else. Then it becomes power. And that's really what we want in the end. This whole thing is about power. Right? How do you get power? Well, you get power by taking power. Right? Power, no one's going to give you power. You know, you take power. You have to figure out what are the ways that you're willing to do things to take power. And that's how we get there. And you know, lots of people over time have given us different strategies. We have to look at all those strategies, understand where we are today, and come up with a program that's going to be implementable in such a way that we have a strategic approach to doing what we need to do. You have to be strategic, because those who are not progressive, who are antithetical to that process, have strategy. We keep thinking they don't have strategy. strategy and we can go out and just, rah, rah, rah. No, you can't do that. You got to have strategy. We have to have proactive and protracted strategy. What is our 20-year plan? What is our 50-year plan? What is our plan for the next 100 years? If you look back at the old ideas that came from the Dutch East India Company, the company that transported slaves, do you know they've had a plan to transport slaves for 1,000 years? They had a plan. What's your plan? Right? We've got to have a plan that's implementable, sustainable, and that we have measurable things that we can do in the process. Then and only then will we really be able to transform the reality that's in front of us. And so with that said, I want to say thank you once again, and I'll turn the mic back over to Margaret. Flyers up at the top, and please come on and participate. Peace.